Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping right into something pretty big for creators out there, Epic MegaGrants.
Yeah, definitely top of mind for a lot of people.
Especially if you're working in Unreal Engine or, getting into the Unreal editor for Fortnite UFN. This is funding you really need to understand.
Absolutely.
So think of this deep dive as like your shortcut to figuring out how these grants work, what they're actually doing out in the wild.
And how you might be able to tap into them.
Exactly. We've seen them back all sorts of things, haven't we? Games, obviously, but also animation, educational stuff.
Yeah, the scope is pretty broad. It's all about building out that Unreal ecosystem.
And with UAFN exploding, this feels super relevant right now for so many creators listening.
It really is. And it's not just like free cash, right? It's strategic from Epic's side.
How so?
Well, by funding cool, innovative projects, they showcase what Unreal Engine and UEFN can do. It lifts the whole ecosystem.
Ah, right. So it's an investment that kind of benefits everyone using the tools?
Precisely. An investment in innovation. And that has ripple effects.
Okay, let's make this more concrete. Let's talk about some projects that got these grants. Omno comes to mind.
Oh, yeah. Omno. Beautiful game.
Mostly a solo developer, Jonas Mank, Studio Inky Fox. He's an animator by trade, right?
That's right. Character animation background.
And he talked about how the Mega Grant was just this huge morale boost. It let him stick to his vision, even like expand the game a bit, bring others in.
Which is amazing for a solo dev journey. That kind of validation beyond the money must be huge.
It really must. It feels like Epic saw the promise there, even early on.
Yeah, and it shows these grants aren't just for, big established studios. They recognize that singular vision.
Definitely. Then there's the Green Fairy, Conical Studios.
Right, down in New Zealand. That one's a fascinating journey.
Started as a VR film, I think, exploring this IP.
Yeah, and the Mega Grant kind of blew it open. They started looking at AR animation.
It's a snowball, didn't it? Led to seed funding. They built a whole game studio.
And now they're making Fayborn, a game set in that same world. They literally said the grant helped increase the quality tenfold.
Wow, tenfold. That's quite an impact. It shows how a grant can be like a seed, right? That grows into something much bigger.
Exactly. It's foundational. It lets you explore, build something sustainable, not just a one-off project.
And it helps prove the concept to other investors down the line.
For sure. That initial Epic backing carries weight.
Okay, another one. Snacko. Blue Curse Studios.
Ah, yeah, the husband and wife team. A really relatable story for indie devs.
Why is that?
Well, it highlights that Epic supports different scales. Snacko isn't, a massive AAA production.
Right, and they'd hit a bit of a wall, apparently. Momentum slowed down.
Yeah, feeling discouraged, it happens. The Mega Grant wasn't just funding, it was a confident shot in the arm.
And suddenly, publishers were interested again.
Exactly. That validation, that stamp of approval from Epic, it reopened doors. It shows funding brings more than just cash.
Credibility,
Yeah.
visibility.
Yep. Reguided enthusiasm, new opportunities. It matters.
Okay, one more, and this one's really powerful. Kibwe, FX Animation Studios.
From Mozambique. Yeah, this is a fantastic example.
The grant was key to making Mozambique's first animated feature film. That's incredible.
It really is. Their goal is telling local stories, putting Mozambique on the animation map.
And they wanted to do it without, foreign investors maybe changing their vision.
Precisely. The Mega Grant gave them that independence, that freedom to tell their story their way.
That feels really significant. It goes beyond just the tech.
Absolutely. It's about cultural representation, empowering creators everywhere, leveling the playing field a bit, enriching storytelling globally.
Okay, so those are some really inspiring examples, but it can't all be smooth sailing, right? We need
No.
the full picture.
No, absolutely not. And digging into developer forums like Reddit and places like that, you see the other side too.
What kinds of things come up?
Well, the big one is waiting times. It's
Yeah.
competitive, and people report waiting months. No, sometimes, honestly, over a year for a response, even just for a no.
Oof. A year is a long time when you're trying to keep a project alive.
It really is. So managing expectations on timelines is important.
And there's a sense, especially for game devs, that it's just really, really tough to actually get a grant.
Highly competitive, yeah. You hear feedback like, maybe my project wasn't the right fit, or people questioning the exact criteria.
Is there any consensus on what Epic is looking for, besides just a great project?
Well, it's speculation mostly, but the feeling is they might favor things that really push Unreal Engine technically.
Show off new features, maybe?
Yeah, or things that could bring a lot of new people into the Unreal ecosystem. Something with broad appeal or unique use of the tech. Projects closer to completion sometimes seem to get a look in too.
Right. And there's this other point, like some devs with like a really solid demo, already a vertical slice.
Yeah, that polished chunk of the game.
They feel like the typical mega grant amount, while nice, might not be a total game changer at that stage compared to their overall budget needs.
That can be true. Once you have that solid slice and you're scaling up production, your funding needs might jump significantly. The grant becomes a smaller piece of a much bigger pie.
So it's maybe most impactful earlier on or for smaller scale projects?
Potentially, yeah.
Hmm.
Or for very specific needs like finishing funds or porting. It depends.
Okay, so bearing all that in mind, the huge potential and the real challenges, let's nail down the basics. What is the Epic MegaGrants program officially?
At its core, it's Epic Games putting money back into its own ecosystem, supporting projects using Unreal Engine, and now, importantly, UAFN.
Projects they think are useful or innovative or just interesting.
Pretty much. They want to see cool stuff being made with their tools.
And the big one, creators keep their IP.
Yes, that's crucial. You get the grant, you still own your creation, you can publish wherever, however you want.
No equity stake, no publishing strings usually attached.
Generally, no. It's about enabling your vision. That's a big draw compared to some other funding routes.
And this isn't brand new, is it? It grew out of something else.
Right, the older Unreal Dev Grants program, similar idea, supporting the community. Mega Grants is just, well, mega scaled up.
Got it. And the official source for all the details is unrealengine.com/megagrants.
That's the place. Always check the official site for the latest info.
Okay, so let's say someone listening is inspired. They've got a UAFN project cooking. What makes an application likely to succeed based on, general grant wisdom?
Number one, I'd say, is clarity. Absolute clarity.
Clarity on what?
On your project, what it is, why it matters, how you'll build it, when. And clarity on your funding needs a detailed, itemized budget.
So know exactly what you're asking for and why.
Precisely. And related to that is consistency.
Meaning?
Your budget needs to perfectly match your project description. If you say you need an animator, the budget needs to show that cost. No disconnects.
Makes sense. Reviewers spot that stuff.
They do. Then, a clear statement of need. Don't just ask for money. Explain exactly what those funds will achieve.
Like, this $10 K will let us finish the core gameplay loop or something specific?
Exactly. What specific milestone will this grant unlock? Why do you need this money now?
You also need to show the bigger picture, right? How this fits into your overall goals.
Yeah. Funders like to see that this project isn't just a one-off,
Yeah.
but part of a larger vision. It shows ambition.
And lasting impact. How will this project matter beyond the grant period?
What's the long-term potential? Will it grow? Will it reach an audience? Will it contribute something meaningful?
And tailor it. Don't just send a generic pitch.
Please don't. Customize it for mega grants. Show you understand their goals and how your project aligns.
Like, you look serious.
It does. And then there's the narrative. Tell a compelling story.
Your vision, your passion.
Yeah. Why should they care? What's unique? What's innovative? Make them excited about it.
Clear objectives are probably key too. Measurable goals, timelines.
Definitely. Shows you've planned it out. You know how to manage a project.
And a transparent budget. Break it all down. No fuzzy numbers.
Builds trust. Shows you're responsible with the funds.
Having a demo or prototype must help massively too.
Oh, hugely. Show, don't just tell. A working prototype speaks volumes.
Makes it real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Using data, if relevant. Market research, maybe.
Could add weight, especially if it's got commercial legs.
And finally, just presentation. Polish it. No typos. Get someone else to read it first.
Yeah, get a second pair of eyes. Always a good idea. A sloppy application reflects badly.
Totally. Professionalism matters.
Okay, so that's the good stuff. What about the pitfalls? The common mistakes that sink applications?
Well, flip side of the coin, really. Lack of clarity is probably the biggest killer. Vague idea, fuzzy budget.
Dooms it from the start.
Pretty much. Inconsistency, too. Budget doesn't match the plan.
Raises red flags.
Big ones. Not having that clear statement of need, just asking for cash without saying why.
Yeah, give me money. Doesn't usually work.
Not so much. Failing to show the bigger picture, the long-term vision.
Makes it seem small or short-sighted.
Right. Or not demonstrating that lasting impact we talked about. Why should they invest if it just fizzles out?
Making up funding numbers on the fly. Not doing the budget homework.
Oh yeah, that's surprisingly common. And easily spotted.
Not tailoring the application. Sending that generic pitch.
A classic mistake. Shows lack of effort.
And just using tons of jargon or really unclear language.
Yeah, keep it clear, keep it accessible. Don't try to impress with buzzwords if the core idea gets lost.
Okay, solid advice.
Yeah.
So, practical steps. How do you actually apply, and what should you really expect?
First stop, the official site, unrealengine.com/megagrants. Get the latest application forms, guidelines, everything.
Right. And brace yourself for the timeline.
Yeah. Officially, they aim for 90 days for a response. But, as we heard, be prepared for it potentially taking longer. Much longer sometimes.
Manage those expectations. It's competitive.
Very. And having that prototype or demo we mentioned, seriously beneficial. Show them something concrete.
Makes sense. Any other tips from the trenches?
Some people talk about applying multiple times. Maybe start with a smaller ask for a specific part of the project, build credibility.
Interesting strategy, like testing the waters?
Could be, but ultimately it comes down to that detailed, well-argued proposal.
Showing the innovation, the use of Unreal or UAFN, the potential impact?
That's the core of it. Why your project deserves funding, why it fits the MegaGrants mission.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Key takeaway. Megagrants are a huge opportunity, especially now with UAFN.
Massive potential, yeah. But requires serious prep work. A killer application is essential.
The success stories, Omno, Kibwe, Snacko, show what's possible. Hopefully that inspires some of you listening to think about how it could fuel your own UAFN ideas.
Definitely. Let those stories motivate you.
But also be realistic. Know it's competitive, be persistent. Don't give up if the first try doesn't work out.
Learn, refine, try again, maybe.
And maybe a final thought. Consider how funding like this, these mega grants, are actively shaping creative development.
Yeah, how Epic is influencing the direction of tools and content on platforms like UAFN.
And think about your role in that. How can you best present your unique vision within that evolving landscape?
It's something to chew on. Explore the resources, think critically, and figure out how to make your pitch stand out. Good luck out there.